All right. So today, first of all, thanks everybody for joining us. Today, what we're going to talk about is digitizing document processes with document automation. Specifically, we're going to highlight Xpertdoc in that respect. And of course, its uses with SugarCRM, although it works with a lot of different solutions. So today's webinar is quick and dirty. It's going to be 30 minutes, super fast. We just want to cover some basics here. We want to go over what is document automation, how and why are businesses using it, and specifically show you Xpertdoc and its uses within Sugar and for creating certain documents in certain business situations, use cases for that. So we'll demo that later on in today's presentation. All right, so here's what the agenda is going to be. I'm going to do some quick intros. I'm going to give you a quick 101 on document automation and its benefits. And then we'll get into Xpertdoc specifically. We'll talk about some use cases and get into the demo. If there are any questions throughout, you can always toss those into the chat, and we're happy to get to those and get those answered for you. All right, so my name is Deneen Madura. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Technology Advisors. And with me today, we have Anthony Mansauer, the Partner BDM of Xpertdoc, and Stéphane Cloutier, the Pre-Sales Engineer at Xpertdoc. So first of all, what is document automation? Well, document automation works by pulling in data and text from a variety of sources, in this particular case of today's presentation, SugarCRM, to fill document templates in predefined areas. And those templates can be simple, they can be more sophisticated, but the whole idea is that this document automation is making it easier to assemble all the frequently used documents that we're creating, and also helping us do that in a way that is accurate and efficient to the customer experience. So how are businesses using document automation? Document automation can be used in a lot of respects. You can use it for generating your invoices, contracts and quotes, which we're doing all the time here at Technology Advisors, purchase orders, delivery forms, all these great uses. And these 6 here are just some of the ways that you can use document automation, some of the more popular ways, but there are a lot of ways to use it. And there are a lot of uses for it within various industries. So one of the great things about document automation is that it's making the document generation process more accurate because you're reducing manual data entry. And that's really important for specific industries. I mean, it's important for all of us because we don't want to have a customer-facing document or a legal document that's not accurate. But it's very important for industries that have very strict regulations. And so we'll discuss some of those industries later and how different industries are using it. But more important than, okay, these are the ways that businesses are using it, we really want to understand, well, okay, why do they use it though? And there's really just a lot of benefits. So you're automating everything else about your interactions with customers through your CRM and your marketing automation, right? And you're building all these workflows and you're taking all this time to streamline your customer experience and make it personalized and seamless. And so it kind of just makes sense that if you're automating everything else, why would you want to put a roadblock for yourself to slow down that process and inhibit that customer experience when it comes to the final act of that interaction? So when you're sending out that quote, when you're sending out that contract to be signed, everybody wants that to be an efficient process. And in addition to that, the minimization of the data entry and time spent putting that together is making it quicker. So these are just some of the benefits. You're able to generate documents faster. You're using standardized templates. That's part of that faster documentation. That's making teams more productive and able to focus on more important things instead of spinning their wheels, doing all these repetitive manual tasks that aren't necessarily bringing any more benefit to their customers, right? Saving documents to the cloud, being able to collaborate on them with people in real time, that's really important. And then I want to circle back here to this point on the right side about privacy and security with confidential documents. That tied in with the automation are two really key points for industries that have a lot of requirements and regulatory issues. So maybe you're in financial services or law or insurance. That makes it especially important for you because sure, if I make an error on something, I'm in, the CRM consulting space. That's embarrassing, sure. But if I'm in the financial services or law or insurance space and I make an error, maybe I'm now going to be facing some legal and financial repercussions, and that is very scary. So really, we just want to cut down on issues with compliance, issues with data privacy, issues with accuracy, and just try and streamline the thing that we all do every single day and every single week, which is get documents out to people. And so now let's kind of discuss Xpertdoc specifically when it comes to document automation. Xpertdoc are the experts, wink, wink, with an X, because they've been doing this for a while. They've been around the block. They've been around since 2002, empowering businesses with automated digital documents of all sorts to be doing these sorts of things that they're doing. So I want to pass the floor over to Anthony to kind of dive in a little bit more specifically on Xpertdoc and its uses for document automation.
Thank you, Danina. Appreciate it. Well, very simple. We say that our solution is flexible, powerful, and scalable. And what we mean by that is we do, there are some smaller customers, just a few users generating maybe a couple hundred documents per year. We have others on the extreme side who have, quite a few thousand users, and they're generating millions of documents per year. And we do have customers from anywhere from governments at different levels, from municipal, state, federal agencies around the world, and also small and large corporations around the world also. So we do support customers everywhere, including Europe and throughout Asia, very strong. Next slide. Perfect. You'll see in a few moments, really exciting, that a user, very simple, in 1, 2, or 3 clicks can generate some complex documents. We can take complex business rules, what applies to a document, what applies to certain areas of the document, paragraphs, and the text that goes in there. We can take all that, put all that together, and we can even take data from multiple sources. So not only from within CRM, from outside, bring all that in together, generate calculations and documents from that. And all that requires little to no IT support, actually really straightforward to use. So increase your productivity immediately. Next. Perfect. So we have a connector, of course, to Sugar, but we also have a connector through Dynamics and through Salesforce. We can work through Power Automate and through API. This can work right out of the box. It doesn't take days and days to configure and make this thing work. It's not that complicated. We make it straightforward and easy to use. So out of the box, you can get this up and running immediately. These are some of the industries that we're strong in. A little bit what Danine was saying in some of the industries, like manufacturing, obviously, insurance. This is where we started off 20 years ago. They're heavy users of document generation. A lot of changes depending on jurisdictions, healthcare, governments, not-for-profit, legal. So these are some of the industries that we're in. some of the customers that are using Xpertdoc. That's a very small subset listed here, are the thousands. Yes, quite cool. So to expand a little bit what Danine was saying about where this is used, but in sales, of course, in quotes, we see this a lot. We can take all kinds of interesting documents, information from your CRM, but documents from outside of a CRM. You have product brochures, you have all kinds of data, you want to incorporate all that, and it's got to look seamless, it's got to be easy to use. It does all that by itself. And you'll see that in a moment here. Legal documents, of course, a lot of like commercial leases, very surprising. We see a lot of that being used, and contracts. Underwriting, anything with insurance, it's very complex and a lot of jurisdiction changes there. Accounting, invoices, reports, even major financial institutions are using Xpertdoc for generating graphs and financial reports for their customers around the world. We can take data not only from outside, but we can actually generate barcodes of different kinds. We can generate QR codes. We can do multiple languages. Even if you use multiple languages, it's still one template of a document, not multiple templates. Next. Here's a really cool example. Husky, they're in multiple countries, 100 countries, using 10 different languages, generating 36,000 documents per year. Each document is pretty heavy duty, about 70 pages and more. The problem they were having is that it was a branding problem as one, where each country is doing its own thing. The consistency across different languages and countries was all over the place. And there was a lot of manual cut and paste, literally, to put these documents together to send it out. So here, someone can generate a document in Chinese or Indian language or any complex language you want. They don't need to speak that language. They do a couple clicks and it's gone, including an email that's personalized with all that. So Husky got immediate improvement on this, and they were extremely happy on it. Yeah. So Sergey was really happy. They were using CPQ, configure, price, quote. Their quoting mechanism, or what they wanted in the quote, was something much more complex than the product a CPQ could offer. So that's where Xpertdoc came in to do some complex needs around that. And the next example, this is my favorite example, group health. Employees coming on board were getting health coverage, insurance coverage. The problem was that they were using a PDF form that was so long and so complex, people can figure out all the fine print, what's applicable to them and what's not applicable. So on the insurance plan, there was a lot of options available, but some were available to them and to a specific employee, and some were not available. And there was all kinds of conditions they couldn't figure this out. So employees were just signing at the bottom, taking the basic plan, and that was the end of it. They started using our smart form, and you'll see this in literally a few minutes. And with a smart form, it's a form that can change dynamically. So if you answer a certain question, then the option could show up. Hey, I can offer you this option for you. This is, again, something that would just pop up, and the person say, yeah, I want it. And it was very easy. And because of that, Group Health was able to sell optional coverage on their insurance plan by an extra 5,000%. It paid for itself in a few days. They were very, very excited about this. And more than that is when the person needed to go to the local drugstore to pick up some prescription, well, the person's name was correctly spelled. So then it was working okay. But before, it was manual process, had to be typed in, people were misspelling names. It was creating a lot of headaches, not only for their customer, but also their call center. So all that got cleaned up right away. Yeah, Jim is very excited on this. I actually keeps talking about this forever. So yes. So you'll see right now 4 demos. It's quite interesting. We're going to do a quote summary. We're going to do a formal quote. We're going to do we're going to send something for e-signature. for signing. And we're going to do a smart form. We had originally as address change. We're going to show you something a little more complex. It's going to be basically a loan application. So you'll see this really, really interesting. Very similar to group health, what they're doing. So it's a smart form. The form can change dynamically. And you'll see that right now with Stefan. So Stefan.
I'm going to give Stefan the screen sharing capabilities here. Okay. So just give me a second.
Okay. All right, I can share now. Well, just let me know when you see my screen and we'll start sharing. We'll start.
Got it.
All right. Well, thanks, Anthony, and thank you. What I'll be doing is show you a few scenarios like Anthony mentioned from SugarCRM. So first scenario, I'm going to be in a quote. And what I'm going to do from this quote is scenario number one, you're talking with a customer and you want to send a quick email summary of the quote directly to the customer. So we're going to click on the drop-down. We're going to see Xpertdoc. And then we're going to be you will see the flows that are available for the quote. And I'm going to be sending an email summary to my customer, which will open up our flow execution panel to show the progress. And it's generating the email and it's sending the email just there and it's done. If I go back here, if I might. So that's the email that we sent to the customer with data coming in from the quote, as well as the quote line items. And we pulled some images from our FTP site based on the items that are in your quote. So you can add actually images in there. So the total, and this is the email itself. So very quickly, we just would click, we send email to the customer. In scenario number two, now that we've sent a quick summary overview to the customer, now we want to send a formal quote. So our next flow, what it will do is we will be generating a document, a PDF document. But first, we will ask some questions to the user as to what the user wants to include in the document that will be generated. And based on the answer provided from the user, we will then generate the email and also we'll attach a copy into Sugar of the quote that we sent to the customer. I'm gonna click on the drop down, send a formal quote, and now it will open up and the flow execution panel will now show the user the questions that do you want to include the product information? Well, this would be to pull in brochures from this time from our FTP site, but we could join some brochure at the other type of document in it. Do you want to include the terms and conditions? Yes, I do. And you also want to add text to your thank you letter. All right, this is test. And I'm going to put this one in color to show that we can support rich text. And then I'm going to click next. And based on my answers that I provided here, next it will be generating my document, sending it in PDF to my customer by email, and then it will be storing a copy in SugarCRM in the notes. And it's emailing. And it's creating the note, and we're done. Just going to click quickly to show you the document we just generated. And that's a quote that we just generated from the quote record with information from the account as well. The text that we manually added. Our price quotation with images again that we pulled in. And we have logic in our template between subtotal and grand total. We had a discount line there, but we put logic in it just to remove the discount if there was none provided to the customer. And we fetched the brochures of the products that were part of my quote. And this is it. So if you think of it, just one simple click we produce all this document with very easy and send it to the customer directly. And that's the document we just did send. And if you go after that, if you go look into your CRM and I just do a refresh, you will see in my notes, the quote that we just sent to the customer has been attached directly into SugarCRM. Now, the next case, we've submitted, oh, I just got the email in, sorry. I'm just gonna show you the email that we sent. So that's the email that was sent with the PDF as an attachment directly to the customer. Next scenario will be now that we've submitted a quote, now we want to send it for e-signing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trigger the next flow, which will then send to the customer an email with the link for e-signing. So I'm gonna send it, and we're gonna send it through DocuSign. Now it's sending, generating the document, and it will be sending it very shortly to DocuSign, and my flow will pause and wait until the customer has signed the document. I'm just waiting to get the email in from DocuSign, which should not be too long. I'll be getting, here it is. So I got the email in from DocuSign. All I need to do is review the document. And this is the quote that we sent through DocuSign. Just to revise it, and the customer only needs to do is click and sign and finish. And the flow will then resume, and the document will then be attached into my note as well. Right for this part. The next flow that I will be doing will be from my contact. So I'm going to go into my contacts. Now, this time what we want to do is we want to send a customer a form, or in this case, we'll be sending a loan application to one of my contacts, which will be me. And this time we'll click on the drop down and click on Smart Flows, and we will send a loan application. Now, what will happen behind the scene is we will be generating an email that we will send to the customer with a link to a web form, which will be our loan application. Once the loan application is filled, the customer will then submit back, and it will create a document in PDF and then send it to DocuSign. And that's the process that will be happening behind the scene. Here it is. So now it's creating the email. It's sending the email to the customer any second, and the flow will pause and wait for the customer to respond. Just give me a second. I'll wait to get the email in. Should not be too long again. It's real live email, so that's why it may take some time sending it to myself. So I want to show you the email that we send directly to the customer, and that's just about there. That's the email we sent. So dear Stéphane Cloutier, please complete the loan application. Click on the link, and this will open up in a browser the actual loan application. So we pre-populated the loan application with some data from our SugarCRM, so we can just keep maintaining. And this is the address. How many years have you been at this address? Well, we build logic in the form, so if it's below 3 years, it's going to ask you the previous address. If you say more, it will not ask you. So if, let's say I'm going to say 2 years, and now it's going to ask to enter the previous address. But if I put 4 years, it doesn't ask you for that. Second tab will be the financial information, what type of loan you want to apply. I say, okay, I want a mortgage, and then I want a mortgage loan of $250,000. My employer is company ABC. I'm in sales. Income, let's say 50,000. My start date, I started in, let's say, February 1st, 2017. And if there was end date, but I still work there. Then if you want to add another employer, you click on add, and you can add as many as you want, and it will keep dragging down. The next tab will be is if you want to attach local file or local documents that will be part of your generated loan document, you can do this from here. And if the form is very lengthy, customer could save as draft and return, and every information entered will still remain there for that customer to complete the questionnaire. So now that I do submit, what it will do is it will be sending back the document to SmartFlows and then generating a document and sending it back to me as a PD, as a through DocuSign, which we'll be getting any second. I should be getting the DocuSign back in. It's about there. So I just got the DocuSign. I'm gonna click and review, and this will be my loan application that I just entered with the information we just populated. Mortgage, my company. All right, if I had attachments, they would pop up here. Click and sign, adopt, and finish. Now, once it's finished, it's gonna, DocuSign will then return the document back, the signed document back to SmartFlows. And then at the end, you can just configure whatever you want to do with the document. Once it comes back into SmartFlows, you could email a copy to accounting, to legal, to whatever. Just store it in Sugar, and that's the workflow. Back to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you.
One thing I'm noticing is that, you know, when we're talking about standardizing the sales process, I can see that happening here because you are all of your documents have the same cover pages. They all look the same. So that's really streamlining that and making sure that everybody's on the same page, much like that customer you were talking about, Anthony, Husky, who they had all these different areas across the globe and everybody was doing their own thing. So that's a really great asset to have. We're coming up on our time here. So we want to just finish by telling you what some next steps are if this is interesting to you. If you would like to take a technical deep dive, a little bit more of an in-depth demo of this, if you'd like to get a 30-day test drive of Xpertdoc, or if you just like to open up the conversation a little bit more, go ahead and email us at sales@techadv.com. If you're a current customer, you know Meg will have that discussion with you and take you forward on that. If you're a new customer, we'll hook you up with our sales representative, Molly, who will discuss your processes and your needs for a solution like this and how we can help you get going with it. I really want to thank Anthony and Stefan for their time today, and I want to thank you for your time. I hope that, I know we were quick and dirty, but that was the point. You know, we want to give you this quick overview and give you the tools to start thinking about how this could apply to your processes and how it might help you streamline your work. And, you know, you take it from there. Call us up, email us, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to do next. And I don't see any questions coming in, but if there are any questions, I'm going to send the recording of this afterwards. So you can always even just reply to that email and I will receive it, Janine Madura. I will receive it and I will make sure that any questions that you have are routed appropriately. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much. Really appreciate everybody being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.